Intro. See? There. It went by so fast that we didn't even notice it. Do you like my new and improved intro? You might have missed it if you blinked. You might have to, you know, rewind the video to be able to catch that super fast new intro that I've got. That we're skipping past so that we can get to the point of the video. Yay! Now, because I always ramble too much at the beginning of my videos, I am just going to say one itsy bitsy tiny little thing, and then we will get to the point of the video. So yay! Now, look. I got a stick. I'm super happy, remember my first video? I was like, oh yeah, people have sophisticated sticks and I don't have that. Well, now I'm one of the people who has the sophisticated sticks. So I feel like this is a true accomplishment. It makes me look like I'm not as lost as I really am. It's awesome. Okay, so today we're going to be drawing, yay! So, we're going to be drawing in charcoal today. Now, I know, most people, me included, I mean, when you start out in drawing, you usually go for a pencil first, and that's what I used to do all the time. But then I decided that today was Sunday. Then I decided and I started drawing in charcoal. I took a class, and it's incredible, and it's so much easier than drawing in pencil, believe it or not, and it is going to be lots of fun. Now, I'm actually going to make this sort of like a tutorial. That way you people at home can draw as well. It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to make it super simple. We're going to draw something super simple. I'm just going to teach you guys sort of the basics so that then you guys can go home and, or maybe you're already home, but then you can go and buy stuff and then sit down and draw for yourselves. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to be doing anything like super sophisticated and years and years of practice or using like $100 paint brushes or paints. I'm not even going to paint, but you know what I mean. A lot of times it's like, well, yeah, I'd love if I could do that, but I can't do that. But we're gonna make it super nice, super simple, super easy to follow, and yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. So I think that to start out, we should start with materials or stuff you need. Let's stick with materials. Materials. I still love making stuff appear on the screen. Materials. Number one is a subject matter. Now, that means basically what you're gonna draw. Now, I think that a really great place to start out is stuffed animals. Because, I don't know, they're a great place to start out. I should have better reasons. This tutorial isn't going very well. Stuffed animals. Okay, they're a really good place to start, and they're very simple because they tend to have very simple shapes that you can sort of like follow along with. So, today we're going to be drawing my friend, Clicky the penguin. Now, you might be thinking like, okay, she said stuffed animals, I was probably thinking of like a teddy bear or something like that. Now, I have a very good reason why I'm not drawing a teddy bear today, and that's because I just drew one, like literally, like a couple of weeks ago, like, See, hear the glorious music? Quite glorious. Now, because of that, today we're going to go even simpler than a teddy bear, and we're going to be drawing my friend Clicky here, and on a pillow. See? Now, I think that it's really important to have sort of physical subject matters that you can manipulate any way that you want. Because, not to say that you can't draw off of a picture, because that's what I used to do a lot, and I still do it sometimes, because sometimes, I don't know, if you want to draw something that isn't exactly accessible to you, then you can always go off a picture. But for two reasons. First, it allows for some really creative thinking. Like, I once had to draw like a dog in a shoe, in a boot. Like, you take what you have around you, you put it in front of you, and then you start drawing it. See? Easy! Now, the second reason I like sort of subject matters that you can see and that you can move however you want is on to step material thing number 2, which is a light source. Now, I do have him next to a window, so you can clearly see that the light is coming in from this direction. But it's a very good idea, especially when you're starting out, to emphasize that light source with a desk lamp or a flashlight or something like that. So, we see him like this, and then if I do this, we see the light source even better. Now, right here, we can see the creases on the pillow, we can see which parts of him we're going to be drawing a little bit lighter and which parts are going to be a little bit darker. Just look at the contrast on his beak, for example. We can see where the shine in his eye is going to be. You can see it right there. And it overall helps so that when we put this onto paper, it doesn't look completely flat and it looks a little bit more 3D. Graphite. Now, that's the fancy speak for pencil. Now, I would recommend using a 2B or a 4B, but if you want to use a mechanic pencil, I'm not going to stop you. And if you're using a pencil, make sure that you have a good sharpener, because there are a lot of them that will just kill your pencil completely. Next, kneaded eraser. Now, these are really cool. You can play around with them, sort of like Play-Doh, and they're really the only thing that's going to get rid of your charcoal once you put it down. And you can even use it on pencil, actually. It's great because it erases the pencil without leaving behind, you know, all of the little bits that other erasers do. So, kneaded eraser all the way. Now, whenever you erase something, it'll start to get dark, but you can just like knead it, as the name suggests, and it comes back to normal. Now, the more you use it, the darker it'll get, and once the thing gets like black, it's time to change your eraser. Paper! Now, obviously, you're gonna want a blank piece of paper. Now, this is only for our draft though, because the paper that we're going to be using for our actual drawing is watercolor paper. Now, the cool thing about watercolor paper is that it has a really, really nice texture, and that's why I'm using watercolor paper to draw with charcoal. Now, it's gonna leave sort of your end result having a very, very nice texture. Now, notice how big this is. This is normal, this is bigger than your usual sheet of paper. Wait, let me get that in frame. Yeah. It's bigger than your usual sheet of paper. And for this kind of technique that I'm going to be teaching you guys, it's a very good idea to draw big. Now, you guys are lucky. Because of my constraints in size, I'm only using this tiny one. Now, my teacher, he would make us use this. It's not even gonna fit in frame. I don't know why I'm teaching. Okay, so it's this wide and it's like this tall. It's huge. Now, if you can get your hands on something that big, I would definitely recommend it. If not, then this size is pretty good. This one's size is 11 by 15 inches is what I'm using today. Next, of course, comes charcoal, which is our main drawing tool right now. Now, I use soft bind charcoal, which is what I recommend you guys to use. Why not other kinds of charcoal? Well, because I haven't been drawing long enough to experiment with other kinds of charcoal, so this is what I know and this is what I got. Now, these pieces of charcoal, they come pretty long, so what I'll usually do is that I split them in half, and then I use 1/2 at a time. Tissue or toilet paper. And yes, I'm serious. This is going to be a fantastic blending tool when we start out. But I'm very particular about the kind of toilet paper that you're using. Now, I don't want any of the fancy stuff. You want the really cheap stuff. The airport bathroom quality kind of stuff. That like really thick and sort of texturized stuff is not going to help you at all. It has to be this really, really thin, almost transparent kind of stuff, falling apart as you look at it. This is the kind of toilet paper that we're going to want to use today. Hands, jazz or otherwise. We're definitely going to be using our hands a lot when it comes to smudging stuff or spreading stuff out. Just be prepared for your hands to end up completely black by the end of this. Now, a good technique, if your hands do start to blacken, is to take your kneaded eraser and sort of rub it through your fingers. And that will help lift a lot of the charcoal that is going to end up on your hands. Now, you don't want to do this too much because, you know, our hands are dirty and they've got like, I don't know, oils and stuff. So if you handle your kneaded eraser too much, then the oils are going to transfer onto your kneaded eraser, and that in turn is going to transfer onto your drawing, and that's generally something that you don't want to do. Finally, chocolate. Now, strangely enough, we'll be using this for... I'm just kidding. This is for me. Onto our draft. Now, what's cool about this is that the draft is supposed to look terrible. Now, we're going to be doing it in graphite, and if at all possible, if you can stand up, it's even better. Like, the whole point of the draft is seeing what you're going to be drawing from far away and just sort of being able to visualize it and make all the mistakes that you're going to make on this piece of paper and not on the slightly more expensive piece of paper. Now, I think I'm just going to sort of throw the subject matter over here, in this corner, and that way, and here, I'll move over here. That way you guys can sort of see what I'm looking at the whole time. Now, for this, we're going to be starting with super basic shapes. You're going to hold your pencil not like this, like you usually would, but instead sort of like a magic wand. Swish and flick, yeah? Now you're going to be holding it like this, and this is going to make it a whole lot harder to be precise. That's exactly the goal here. We don't want to be precise, we want to see some stuff from far away, and we want to make it look cool and good and great. So, starting off, we're going to start with Clicky's sort of head. He has sort of like an ovalish head. Now we're just going to go around and around, over and over. It's not supposed to look good at first. We're just visualizing. Just keep going until you like what you see. It's a little bit taller. No, it's flat here. It's sort of like, yeah. Here we go. A head. Ta-da! Then his body, it's sort of plump. So here we've got another shape. So it's a little bit it's bigger at the bottom. There we go. Very nice. But see, what I got wrong here is that the body right now isn't proportional to the head. The head's too small. Clicky has a super big head. So what we do is that we just make the head bigger. See? Nice and relaxed. It's supposed to look bad, for the record. Okay? So here we've got our head, and here we've got our cute little body. Now, these are the two fundamental things that we want to concentrate on right now. Now then, of course, we can fill them in very nicely. Then we're going to use our #1 drawing tool, our finger, and we're going to smudge our graphite. Now, you'd be surprised at how well the pencil just smudges away. Now, we want to take into account that Clicky, his face and his tummy are lighter than the rest of his body, right? So, my teacher always told me that you're always gonna be drawing with your eraser just as much as you are with your pencil or with your charcoal. Ta-da! Already starting to look like a penguin, am I right? Then we're gonna roughly start with his arms. Now, all of this, I mean, it might seem like there's no order to it, and you might be right about that. But that's the point of it. We're here to have fun, and hopefully end up with something pretty as an after result. And we've got his little feet over here. I'm not going to make them very detailed just yet. And of course, he's on his pillow over here. I'm not going to pay much attention to the pillow here in my draft, just because that's just my interpretation of this draft. The draft is supposed to be super rough. I'm drawing on my table. Now, our eyes are important, so we're just gonna do some eyes just real quickly. That's it. A little beak. This beak is hard because it's facing the front. So we can use this. Something like this. Smudge, smudge, smudge. And there you have it. The rough draft. See, it's supposed to be super rough, but this is basically what we are going to be doing. We're just going to be making rough shapes, and then we're going to be tweaking them until we like how they look. Alright, ladies and gents, here we are in the actual piece. Woo! The actual drawing part. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our charcoal. And a good thing to do when you're starting out is to make a background. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it with all of your pieces, but it's really good when you start out because it helps mask your mistakes, basically. So you're just going to grab your charcoal. Now, you're not going to work with it like you would a pencil. You're going to work with the flat part. So you're going to put the flat part down like that, and you're just going to rub it all around your piece. Just like that. Okay. Once you're done, put down the charcoal, and now here comes in our famous toilet paper. Now, this is really good because right now that background's it's okay, right? But we're going to be messing with it a lot. So, what you're going to do is that you're going to grab your toilet paper, and then you're just going to smudge it all. Look at that, that's something else entirely. Now this is going to help lighten it up a little bit too, so it doesn't look as black. And that way we have sort of room to work with. Here we go. This is going to be even easier than the draft. Here we go. Ta-da! Here is our background. Now, if you want to make it even lighter, then you just put down a little bit less charcoal. If you want to make it darker, then you can put down more charcoal. I think that this is sort of a good intermediate point. Now, we're going to do the same thing that we did in our rough draft, which is we're going to make our shapes. But here's the thing. Once again, we're going to be using our charcoal completely flat. That means no making shapes like this, okay? That's cheating. You have to put it down flat. Now, once you have your charcoal down, and once it's flat, you're gonna start making a circle, and yeah, it's gonna look something like this. Now, I have the problem, I always end up making these things too big, but you can always reduce them down later. So, you're gonna make your circle and it's gonna look nice and dreadful, like this. But it's nice because Clicky is a penguin. So there are some parts of him that are gonna be pretty dark. There. here's the shape of his head, sort of tilted to a side, right? So here we've got shape number 1, which is absolutely too big, but we'll fix that later. Now we move on to shape number 2, which is his body. Something like this. Now, here's something important. Whenever you want to make a straight line, again, you're not gonna use your charcoal like that, like instead, you're gonna want to hold it flat. When you hold it flat, you just move it down like this. It's gonna help you make much straighter lines that way. Let me get rid of those lines. See what I mean about charcoal? You can do whatever you want. I could make a squiggly line right here, and this is my final piece. Oh no. But all you have to do is smudge it out, and nothing ever happened. That's what I love about charcoal. Now, we're gonna keep on, making our shape. Okay. Now that we've got our absolute basic shape, we're gonna grab a little bit more of our tissue paper, and we're gonna smudge it out. And with this, we can sort of define our shapes a little bit. It all depends on what direction you're moving your hand. So that's very important. This, and then of course our head. We do something like this. That looks nice. It's cute. Now, of course, some parts are going to be a little bit darker or lighter than other parts, but you can always fix that up. Nice! Okay, next thing we're going to do is, I'm going to make sure this is in frame, and we're going to start with our eraser. Now, first things first, I want to make sure that we can see the difference between the dark parts and the light parts of our cute little clicky. So, here we go. Nice tummy. Next, we're going to be doing his face. Now here, we're going to want a tiny bit more precision than what we did on our draft. But to be honest, doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, once you've tweaked as much as you wanted, right? We are probably going to move on into a little bit more detailed things, right? Which of course entails our eyes. Now, our eyes are super delicate. Now, what you can do if you want to be a little bit more precise is instead of using a piece this long, you could use, for example, a piece this long. See? Tiny. Just in case if you don't want to mess up what you've already done. Okay, how's this? It's good. Now, you can tell that Clicky, his pupils are huge. Now, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna make all the space around pupil sort of gray. Now this is a really good technique. What you do is that you grab your kneaded eraser and you literally just change it into the shape that you want. For example, here I want just a tiny little bit so you can see. It'll focus. See that? Okay. So. Okay, as you can see, I took quite some time on those eyes, and they're not even done yet. But I think that that's a good place to start off, because I haven't really started with the light source yet. For now, we're just fixing up our shapes, which is what we said should be the first step. Okay, onto the nose. Nose, like you notice little details. For example, this little beak supposedly reaches to both of his eyes. Now that we've got this done, I think it's important for us to start looking at our light source. Now, this part's important because what we want to do, my workstation is already a mess, but right now it looks pretty cute, I think so, but it looks very flat. Like everything is sort of the same tone, you can tell what's what, but because we're not working with a light source right now, then it just looks completely bleh. And yes, bleh is an official term of official artists, I would know. So here's when our eraser really comes into play, because we're going to start lifting out the parts that are supposed to be a little bit lighter. Now, for example, this half of our beak is much lighter than the other half. Okay, so there we go. Our beak is a little bit lighter on that side. Now, over here, this is all a little bit lighter. Now, the black does stay more or less consistent, even with our light source on, but I think it is clear that this is going to be lighter than this, which we're going to make a teensy bit darker. So, here, we can see that sort of here, it's a little bit lighter, so we're going to lighten this up, like so. And all across this side as well, it's lighter. Now, the whole thing is a work in progress. If I look at this and say, no, not enough difference, I can always just darken this a teeny bit more until I'm satisfied. Now here, we're going to darken this over here. That way, we can make a nice contrast over here by lightening it just a little bit. Here, I don't even need to use my eraser. I can simply lift out some of the charcoal with the tissue paper. There we go, that looks nice. Now we're starting to see a contrast here. This side is much darker than this side, right? Got our light source coming in the left, or my left. Is my left your left? Can never tell. Now, we're going to move on to the face a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I just did, but a little bit more delicately because we've got more things going on in the face. So I'm actually going to do this with my finger because I feel it's a little bit more precise. The very most important detail when it comes to your light is the shine in the eye. Because right now, poor Clicky's eyes are completely flat. Like the body has started to come together, but his eyes have no shine in them. So they're flat, they're dead, there's nothing going on. When you add the shine, it makes it look, it just makes it come to life. So I'm going to demonstrate that. And because this is so small and it's such a detail, I'm going to be using my kneaded eraser and I'm going to be making it nice and small. See? That way, I don't have to worry so much about messing it up. this half of his body is blocking most of the light from coming to this half of his body. So the shine in this eye is going to be smaller than the shine in that eye, which I think I messed up, and I'm gonna do all over again because I didn't like it. Now I want to do the pillow as well, so I'm gonna move this up just a little so you can see down here. Now for the pillow, we're gonna be applying the same concept. Now, the pillow, if anything, it's very, very bright and very white on some parts, especially over here on these top parts. So, we're gonna try and make that nice and evident. I'm gonna finish off the background, just sort of complete it a little. Now, here goes my favorite part. So we're gonna grab our kneaded eraser, and this time we're going to make it as small and as thin as we possibly can. Okay, we're gonna try this. And these little imperfections are actually gonna make the whole thing look a lot more real. So what I've done here is that I've added a little bit of texture to his fur and everything, and now he looks like he's really, really come to life, and I'm super happy about that. So, now the most important part of all, to be able to make this piece your own, you grab your schmancy graphite, and at the very bottom, or wherever you'd like, some people sign in the middle or in the top or sort of like along the side. I like signing at the bottom, so you sign and we're done. Yay, yay. Well, basically that's it. I mean, it's not really as sophisticated. I'm no Van Gogh, but you know, these are the bases that people use to make illustrations and to make all these big works of art. And if you start to practice on simple things like this, then slowly you'll be able to sort of advance onto more difficult things. I'm not sure what else to say. Ooh, that's right, before I go. When it comes to all of these things, you know, I only learned to do this like very recently, and you know, and the whole thing is about making today someday, you know? I'd always wanted to be able to draw and to make something that I could look at and say, hey, that looks pretty good. But the whole point of this is that a lot of people might say, well, okay, you can always just, you can learn to draw, you can learn to play the piano, and you can write and all of these things. You don't have to put a camera in front of your face and do it in front of the world. But first of all, I'm not in front of the world. in front of you, which is absolutely enough. And second of all, the idea behind doing this and sharing this is so you guys will get inspired and do something that you want to do too. If it happens to be drawing in charcoal, then hopefully I can help you, take a step in that direction. If not, if it's like learning archery or whatever it is that you want to do, I hope that, I just want to get people into doing what they've always wanted to do. I want to make today someday and every single day someday. By any chance, you watch one of my videos and you think of something, it's like, oh yeah, I really wanted to do this for a really long time. And you're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do it. if you do, I would really, really, really love to know. It would make my day. So if you do, you can always use the hashtag someday at last. Yeah. Hashtag someday at last. I don't know if that exists or anything, but I'll be checking that hashtag. You can do it on Twitter or on Instagram. Those are the two forms of social media that I'm on and that I look at. So hopefully, you know, this was a fun video to watch, and hopefully you guys have ideas of your own, of things that you can do, or things that I can do. You can very well let me know. And just basically thank you for watching, and thank you for being here, and hopefully you enjoyed my attempt at a tutorial, and if not, you just enjoyed me just drawing. And I will make another video soon. And my outro is just as bad as my intro at this point, but basically just have a very, 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 very lovely day. And I guess I'll see you in the next video.